Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Holiday Movie Marathon. My name is Ben Barber. Thank you so much for joining me. I am really excited. Basically, what we're doing is this is live right now, by the way, if you're watching it at 8:45 on Friday night, December 3rd. I'm really excited about it. We're basically just talking to I'm watching a bunch of Christmas movies that were recommended to me, and I'm talking with my friends and people that I love who love these movies. So tonight, I'm very excited to have one of my oldest friends, Preston Black, joining me all the way from Oregon.
Yes, that's right, Portland.
I assume I was like, it's not Seattle anymore.
No,
How
not
are
too
you,
far
man?
away.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Yeah, everything's super cool and autumny and nice. You know, all things considered,
Uh,
I'm doing
can,
fine.
can you show me that badass Christmas sweater you got going on?
Oh
over
yeah,
there?
let me hold on. Let me. I've got so I can see what I'm doing here. All right, so it's a bit old, and it's missing most of the buttons, so I can't really button it all the way up. But it says Noel, right? No, Noel. Oh, it's hard doing that mirrored. But yeah, it's really it's actually it's almost as comfy as it is scratchy. If it kind of exactly the way it looks.
I I love it.
Thank you.
I think it's amazing.
I'm a huge
So
fan of it, and I won't get rid of it no matter how many buttons it is.
tonight, tonight we are talking about Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983.
The year
Uh,
I was born.
is it the year you were born?
It is
You're four,
December 22nd.
you're 4 years older than I am.
90,
That makes sense. Yeah, no, you were a
yeah,
senior when I was a freshman. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. So this is your favorite Christmas movie?
Yes, I think that's fair to say. You kind of put me on the spot when you asked me that question. Oh, you didn't. I could have taken my time if I wanted to, but I felt on the spot, like I had to answer right away. And yeah, I think yeah, I think that's fair to say.
It's a brief movie. It's only 26 minutes. It's a 26-minute adaptation of, obviously, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, as the name suggests. A lot of people think that this movie is where Scrooge McDuck comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
It's not.
Scrooge McDuck was created in 1947, and this movie was in 1983. Why do you love this movie so much?
It was my first exposure to Christmas Carol.
Okay.
And I don't entirely know exactly the context for my first viewing of it, but I do know that I had it on cassette as a kid, but like a dubbed off TV.
The best kind, if you ask
Sure.
me.
Yeah. Because or probably not dubbed off TV, but maybe dubbed off of something else. Anyway, it wasn't an authentic cassette. Anyway, it was bootleg, and I used to watch this constantly all year round. When I was growing up, I had a hard time going to sleep without the TV on, and so I would sort of cycle through a few different programs. I would say movies, but I don't know if this counts as a movie. It's a short film, I guess you could say.
It is an animated family comedy drama featurette.
A featurette. That's okay. And it was this that I would just watch it on repeat, and also Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and something else that no one will have ever heard of, and so I won't bother bringing it up because it's off topic. But watching this, it's like I didn't watch it in the way that as an adult you think of the way that kids watch things on repeat, where they just like it delights them and they can just watch it over and over and over again. I felt like I like digested it, right? And and even as a very young child, it like resonated with me. Like I got it. And the parts that were serious, I took very seriously. And like the fun parts, it uplifted me, and I just had a lot of emotional highs and lows over those 26 minutes that I enjoyed experiencing over and over and over and over again. But it really just struck me, and I just really felt like I absorbed the moral.
Yep.
Right, and I got the message, and I clued in, and I felt the emotions, and after that, it was like any other Christmas Carol. It had to live up to that standard.
I think that 26 minutes is the perfect length for a Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
I like right off the bat, I love that, and obviously that's better for kids and whatever.
Sure.
But I think that that's great. The first thing that struck me, and I want to get to your opinions on other versions of A Christmas Carol later.
Yeah.
But the first thing that struck me as like a surprise was that Goofy was Jacob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
That was surprising to me. It was the darkest I've ever seen Goofy.
It's the darkest that a lot of those characters have ever been.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was a curious choice to use Goofy. But who else do you use?
Right, that's true. So let's
you got to get them all in there.
Yeah. Jiminy Cricket, The Ghost of Christmas Past,
Mm-hmm.
Willie the Giant, Ghost of Christmas Present, which is my favorite role in A Christmas Carol. Pete, The Ghost of Christmas Future, hilarious. Donald Duck, Fred, Daisy Duck.
Sorry to interject. Do you canonically refer to that character as the Ghost of Christmas Future, or the proper name, which I believe is
Yet to Come?
Yet to Come.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard any story actually refer to it as, to my knowledge, unless I just glaze over when that happens.
Muppet Christmas Carol.
Do they?
I believe Michael Caine says the Ghost of Christmas is yet to come.
Well, disregard my thoughts.
J. Thaddeus Toad as Fezziwig, Minnie Mouse as Emily, Millie and then we get into the non-essentials. But it's a great use of all of the characters.
Yeah. A lot of like really obscure, maybe not for the time, I guess, but the very clever use of various characters from Disney properties.
Yeah, and if you, I mean, I guess you could have like. I think now I probably would have put Goofy as the Ghost of Christmas Present. I can't argue with what they did. I think that it would be great, but I think that there would be because it's such a loud, fun character. Like,
yeah.
But any of those characters being somebody else would have like taken away from the levity of it would have added levity in moments that shouldn't have had levity.
Is the Ghost of Christmas Present always a giant, or a giant type character, or like a Santa?
I watched Scrooge recently. Scrooged.
Yeah, the Bill Murray.
The Bill Murray one, and the Ghost of Christmas Present is, I can't think of her name right now. Oh, I'm so mad at myself. It's But anyway, she's like a fairy, which is very, very different. I've
never read
Carol Kane. It is Carol
Kane. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I haven't. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I've never read the original, like Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, so I don't
Really?
know what is an established trope based on retellings, and I don't know what is authentic to the text.
How often? So what other like? Do you like the Muppets Christmas Carol, for
Sure.
example?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I would consider that blasphemy if you didn't. The Here's a question. We have a
Yeah.
question. We have a live question from Chad because we're live right now.
Very good.
Have you ever seen Donald and Daisy eat a Christmas goose?
In person? No. I I and listen, I used to live in LA, and I used to go to Disneyland during the Christmas season, and they don't have a staged sequence where, in like the parade or any other or otherwise, where Donald and Daisy eat a Christmas goose.
Is that a what is that? Is that a thing that he's like actually referencing? I don't know. Chad, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought we handled that well.
Yeah. Uh, so I mean, I really liked it. I did. I really really liked it. I liked it more than I like Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and stuff.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. I almost put that on when I was sorting through Disney Plus to find Mickey's Christmas Carol, because
So now,
I couldn't see the. I could only. I mean, I'm sitting like 11 feet away from a like 40-inch television, so I could not see. I just saw like Mickey and vaguely Christmassy writing, and I was like, oh, that must be it. And then I
yeah.
popped it open. Oh, no. Made the wrong choice.
What are some of your other favorite Christmas movies?
I'm not like super huge on Christmas movies. Uh, I go for Rankin and Bass stuff,
Yep.
of course. I enjoyed Scrooge, but I think I've only seen it once.
I did not enjoy Scrooged. I enjoyed Scrooged more listening to my friend Jay
Mhm.
suggested it, and I enjoyed it more after hearing it through his voice, like
Okay.
how excited he was about it afterwards when we were talking about it. I was like, you know what? Okay. It changed my mind on it, but watching it, like, I have a very, and this doesn't count because yes, it was made in 1983, but it wasn't like an 80s movie.
Scrooge was made in 1983 also?
No, Scrooge was
Oh,
1987 or something.
okay.
I'm not
All right.
sure.
Sorry.
88. But Mickey's Christmas Carol was made in
Yeah.
1983, but that's not like it's a Disney animated movie. It's not like an 80s movie.
Sure.
Um,
It's timeless.
but
I don't know if I even realized that it was from the 80s. I assumed it was from like the 70s.
yeah, I thought it was earlier too. I was surprised when I just looked it up just now. Uh, do you think that they did it because they had to do it at some point, or do you think that they did it because they were like because every like brand like this is going to do some version of a Christmas Carol at some point? Um, or do you think that they were like, look, we have Scrooge McDuck, we have we we have Mickey, who's the perfect Bob Cratchit. Like it's the. Do you think like they had to do it, or do you think that they did it because like they had a bunch of intellectual property that lent itself to it already? Like what? What?
I think if you've got Uncle Scrooge in your pocket, it writes itself. Obviously, you're going to do a Christmas Carol. Here's the thing: is that around that time, Disney was pumping out a lot of shorts that were based on, fairy tales and fables and stuff like that. And so I think it was something that they were on track to do anyway, and I
Yep.
think it was an obvious choice.
Yep.
I don't know if standalone they like I don't think if they weren't already doing stuff like that, that they would have just gone out of their way to make a random short of A Christmas Carol. Because why would you just do that and nothing else? But this was before, obviously it's well before streaming. It's before the Disney Channel. It's so all they really had were for outputting regular content was making stuff for straight to video,
Right.
releases.
Yep.
And if you want to do that on the cheap, then you're grabbing stuff that's kind of pre-written, you're cycling into your own characters into it, and you're just doing like a 20 to 30 minute little romp. I remember really being into Jack and the Beanstalk, which is where Willie the Giant comes from.
I was really into Jack and the Beanstalk as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure there were others.
Chad says after that came DuckTales. Yes, DuckTales was a series later in the 80s, and then, which I was obsessed with as a child.
Sure, of course.
Also Darkwing Duck I was obsessed with. Which I don't think was Darkwing Duck even Disney?
Yeah.
Was it Disney? It was Disney. Okay, it was the same characters. After that came DuckTales. New series has a great reference to the 1983 special. I'll have to look that up.
It's very good if you've not watched it, the new DuckTales series.
I watched the first couple episodes and then I lost track. So Disney did make a big blockbuster Christmas Carol, not with their characters. They, in 2009 or 2008, 2009, they made the Jim Carrey animated version.
Yeah. Was that a Robert Zemeckis affair? Like the other one? You know what I'm talking about? The Polar Express?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Written and directed by Zemeckis. Which means music by Alan Silvestri? Yep. Music by Alan Silvestri. You're welcome, Kurt. So that is the extent of my knowledge of famous composers.
Yeah.
And their relationship with directors. So I think I liked the 2009 Jim Carrey animated version. It's very close to Dickens, and you don't have to. The 2009 version is very close to Dickens. Chad says you don't have to read Dickens now, which is good because that man literally got paid by the word. So I think cut all the fluff and make it 26 minutes.
Yeah, he's verbose.
But anyway, so Disney later made a giant Christmas Carol movie years and years later. But I think that this one's better.
Having not seen it, I would agree.
You've never seen okay. I think that you should, if it's on Disney Plus, and I'm sure that it is, if it's a Disney movie.
I kind of forgot that it exists, if I'm being honest, but I would give it a shoot. I mean, I'm not averse to
all right,
to Jim Carrey, and I like Dickens, so I'm in.
So we have 22 more days of this holiday movie marathon.
Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol.
Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol is fantastic.
Yeah, I've not seen that one either. I've only seen the Muppets and Mickey's, and I guess Scrooge, if you want to count that.
I don't want to count Scrooge. I don't.
It's an interpretation. I wouldn't call it a retelling.
It's not. It's if you see The Lion King, you don't say that you saw Hamlet.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So here, my I don't think I would like it. I haven't seen it since I was a teenager. Scrooged. I don't think I would like it now. Here's my horrible secret. I'm a big Bill Murray fan. I forced myself to be a fan of Bill Murray's comedy. I like movies that he's in, like Ghostbusters. He's great in Ghostbusters. But I got into watching the one where him and Ramus go to the army. Stripes.
Yes.
And I was like, this is funny. And then I watched it a few more times, and I was like, ah. And I think I watched Scrooge, and I enjoyed it because I felt like I had to. And I don't think I would like it if I watched it again.
I have an aversion to the cinematic style of the 80s. I don't it makes me feel weird because it was when I was really little and I would go to my cousin's house. They were all so much older than I was. And they would all watch 80s movies and a lot of them were like horror movies like Gremlins and stuff and like Chucky and stuff. But it's all shot the same. Like if you look at like the Ghost of Christmas Past in or Jacob Marley or whatever in Scrooged, like it's shot in a way where the special effects are very 80s and it just makes me feel uncomfortable in like this weird PTSD way of like I'm 5 years old and I'm being forced to watch it.
Wow.
So I don't know if I gave Scrooge a fair shake. I like A Very Merry Christmas.
Sure.
On Netflix, I think. That was good a couple years ago, but like I'm not sending the police after you for not liking Bill Murray as much.
Yeah, I just think I don't know. I needed to voice that when Scrooge came up.
I love Groundhog Day.
I've never seen Groundhog Day.
I think it's great. I haven't seen it in a while though. I will watch it in February when I do this again.
Fair enough. Groundhog Day themed movies.
Yeah, it's just Groundhog Day, and I watch it every single day of February. I don't want to do it, but the sponsor is insisting.
Oh, your hands are tied.
My hands are tied.
You got it. Yeah.
By FamilyStoryAlbums.com. Check out Family Story Albums if you're looking for a gift for a member of your family this holiday season. FamilyStoryAlbums.com is an amazing opportunity to record your memories and save them for generations to come. Have the conversations that you never thought to have, ask the questions that you never thought to ask, and save those moments and memories on film with your loved ones, voice and recording and telling their own stories in their own words. FamilyStoryAlbums.com. Okay, now that that's over,
rips up the copy.
Will you devote yourself to finding some spare time over the next 23 days to watch every major version of A Christmas Carol and then report back on like your birthday or like the day after your birthday? It's your birthday is the 22nd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I will make a tentative commitment to do that.
He's all right. Listen, Preston is doing it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You are watching every single Christmas movie ever made.
Excuse me, A Christmas Carol.
Every single version of A Christmas Carol ever made.
I beg your pardon.
We have. Hold on a second. We have some comments. Someone named Jessica Ryan Bone says, "I believe in you, best friend." And then someone else named Georgia said, "What is up, my dude? I love Mickey's Christmas Carol so much," with a heart. I don't know these people. I feel like they might be crazy.
They're both right. They're both correct.
They're both correct. So Jess is correct because she says, "I believe in you, best friend."
Yeah, she's correct to believe in me.
Okay, so you are going to watch every single Christmas Carol.
I don't know. Listen, all right. So I don't know how many there are.
How many can you commit to? How many can you earnestly commit to in the next 20 days?
I would like to say that I could probably put down like 4 or 5. I feel like that's a good sample.
Okay.
Here's what I wanted. Now I'm not going to rewatch Muppets because I've seen that plenty of
That's
times.
fine. That's
I
fine.
will be rewatching Muppets, but I'm not going to make that a part of it. So it might occur after the time frame,
That's
like
fine.
on Christmas. I'm not rejecting it, but that's not a part of it. So, but I will for sure commit to watching the Patrick Stewart because I really want to watch that. I've always wanted to watch that. This is George C. Scott
Yes,
Christmas
absolutely.
Carol, right?
Yes, the George C. Scott one. I will watch the George C. Scott one as well.
Yeah, I really want to watch that. I don't. After that, I don't know. I'm sure there's just like old. There's got to be an old one somewhere.
I'm tracking down the
Like,
Patrick
yeah.
Stewart Christmas Carol this month. I made a vow to myself. I deserve it. You do deserve it.
Yeah.
You do deserve it. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a big party later, closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
We're gonna
gang.
watch the George C. Scott, the Patrick Stewart, and the animated, the Jim Carrey.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we already talked about that, and I had already forgotten about it.
Three.
Okay,
Just
that's
those
three.
three.
I think that's a good swatch.
That's a good three. We've already. I mean, I will also be watching the Muppets Christmas Carol because I watch it every year with Dave and Allie.
Yeah. We when Grace and I lived in Seattle, there was a little art house theater that used to screen Muppets Christmas Carol every year, and you can order a bit of food and have a drink, and they get like really comfy like booth seats that you can sit in, and there's like an intermission, and they play other stuff. And it's was that a sing-along affair or no? It was not a sing-along affair, but that was one of my favorite experiences going to that, and I'm sad to not be near it now. But it's Muppets Christmas Carol is, I mean, it's a close second. I don't mean to take away from the Muppets Christmas Carol by saying that Mickey's is my favorite. It's just like, I get nostalgia for it. It hits me harder. Actually, I have some notes. I took notes while I was rewatching Muppets Christmas Carol last night. I mean, Mickey's Christmas Carol. And if you are interested, I'd love to run down these notes.
It's all yours, my friend.
Okay.
It is all yours.
All right. Double up. Okay. I'm just going to go point by point, and we can put these into context or discuss if the need arises. And these were like as it was happening. So these aren't like after the fact, like a review. This is just like my thoughts as I'm going.
Okay.
So the first note is rather, this song is not One More Sleep Till Christmas.
One More Sleep Till Christmas is one of the best Christmas songs ever.
It really is, and it's stuck in my head constantly. And it's the Mickey's. It starts with this really beautiful sort of choral affair, and my initial thought was like, "Oh, this is nice," and then I just got One More Sleep Till Christmas in my head, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's fine." Point number 2. Alan Young. Come on. Alan Young, guys. Taken too soon. I think he was in his 90s. Every time... He's so good. He's so good. Everyone's very good. Every time I watch this, I am immediately brought back to my childhood when I would watch this constantly all the time, and that we already discussed. But every time, I'm just like, oh, man, remember being a child? All right, this is divisive, and I'm sad that I'm saying this in front of my wife. Scrooge's Scrooge is worse than Kane's Scrooge as a person.
Yes.
As a character.
Yes.
I think that Uncle Scrooge's Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge, is a worse person than Michael Caine's Ebenezer Scrooge.
I agree with that.
Not that one is better than the other necessarily, because I think they're vastly different performances.
I agree with that. Can I tell you that the Bill Murray portrayal, the Bill Murray portrayal of Scrooge, like of the Scrooge character, in Scrooged is like maybe the worst that I've ever seen. Like he makes a commercial for their retelling of A Christmas Carol on TV, and it's so like apocalyptic that an old woman dies watching the commercial, and he's like, fantastic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't buy this type of publicity. He like an old woman with a bunch of shopping bags is trying to get a cab, and he like taps her on the shoulder or throws her thing down, and she looks around, and he grabs the cab, and then and he flips her off. Like way worse of a dude.
He's just like a douchebag, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not a Scrooge trope. He's not a miser, right? He's just like a shitty like Madison Avenue soulless capitalist.
Yep.
Ugh.
Anyway, let's continue. Alan Young was taken too soon.
Yeah, right. Moving on. Boiled in his own pudding is violent.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very violent thing that they wrote for this movie for children.
I think that's from A Christmas Carol, though.
I bet it is. It doesn't surprise me, but they could have changed it if they wanted to. They didn't have to include that. But it's like you're watching this. You're watching Scrooge, you're watching Uncle Scrooge talk about. I can't remember what the context of that conversation is, but he's condescending towards Mickey, his employee, and he tells him something about loving Christmas. Anyone who loves Christmas should be boiled in their own pudding or something. And I was like, oh my God. Like, this was already like, okay, you're doing something different with the characters, but violent. Scrooge's rationalization for not donating to the poor is too real. Why did so few current politicians watch this movie as kids? Quote, if you give to the poor, they won't be poor anymore, and you won't have to raise money, and you'll be out of a job. Don't ask me to put you out of a job. Not on Christmas Eve. What a monster. You work your whole life to get money, and people want you to give it away. Scrooge is Jeffrey Bezos. Goofy's Marley is horrifying.
Yes.
It's a terrifying sequence. It's really scary, and I think Goofy, from a modern perspective, seeing Goofy as Jacob Marley, but also not voiced by Bill Farmer, makes it spooky. I don't remember who the voice artist for Goofy was, but his voice is deeper, and he's less like he doesn't have
Hal Smith.
Yeah, so he doesn't have the really heavy like Southern like affectation.
Yep.
And so it's just very like, not only is it is that sequence inherently spooky, but also they like take Goofy and they make him a more imposing figure somehow. But he still trips over his chains and does pratfalls and does the like, oh!
Chad says Jim Carrey's Scrooge rides a rocket. Yeah, my biggest problem with the 2009 Disney's A Christmas Carol was the amount of physical comedy in it. I did not need like a 10-minute carriage chase scene in the middle of A Christmas Carol. That's not what I'm there for.
Sure.
All right, next.
I love how earnest this is. And this is not a complaint or a judgment on Muppets Christmas Carol. But one of the dividing lines that edges Mickey's Christmas Carols out for me is that they take it very seriously. And Muppets Christmas Carol is Christmas Carol with Muppets doing Muppet stuff in the background. And so I appreciate that it's entertaining and I love it. But I do appreciate that this interpretation of A Christmas Carol, they didn't do that. You know, it's not played for laughs.
Fair point.
And I appreciate that. Jiminy Cricket is a very compelling Christmas past. I thought that was a very fun choice. Jiminy Cricket was not a timely reference for 1983.
Yeah, so When I thought that I had never seen this movie before until I saw Jiminy Cricket as the Ghost of Christmas Past, and I realized that I've always associated Jiminy Cricket with the Ghost of Christmas Past subconsciously, and I'm like, oh no, I did see this movie as a child. I
Yeah.
didn't remember it, but I have seen it because I've always it was very nostalgic from that moment on.
The like that last line that sort of echoes into the next sequence when Jiminy says, "Remember, Scrooge, you crafted these memories yourself." Yourself is like one of the more like haunting moments in the whole production, in my opinion. Fezziwig's party, and I'm already crying. There's something, that whole sequence with the party and Isabel, it cuts me so deep. Even as a kid, it was just like heart-wrenching to watch that happen. And the anticipation of Isabel and Scrooge having their really horrible breakup, that even now just like thinking about it is getting me choked a little. Just getting to Fezziwig's party and knowing that that's coming, I'm just like, oh my God. Everyone was so happy and Scrooge is so innocent and he's going to ruin this. Ugh, it gives me a lot of feelings. We're rocketing through this story, but it doesn't feel rushed.
Yes.
It occurred to me at that moment that we were already like halfway through and it was only like 10 minutes in. But it felt like it was a good pace. It was a steady pace. None of the sequences are like, they don't skip through anything too quick, except for one minor little thing that I would bring up later. But I thought it was well paced. And if you're going to cut it down to 25 minutes, I think they did it really, really well. They got all the beats in, and it's emotional and it hits the way it meant to. And I think they did a great job. Pot roast with schmishmashio sounds delicious. This is something that Willie the Giant says. He can't pronounce pistachios. He says, I've got pot roast with schmishmashio, you know? And it sounds like a delightful treat. Treating the street lamp as a flashlight is genius. When they climb up out of the house through the roof that he can just lift up and open like a trapdoor, and then he picks up the street lamp and he pulls the top off of it, and a beam of light comes out, and then he adjusts it by turning it. And then, this is great. It's great stuff. That's Your Laundry guts me. This movie doesn't pull a single punch. When they are looking into Mickey's house,
yeah,
and to observe just how poor they are, and Scrooge sees the bubbling cauldron on the fire, and he's like, oh, I can't remember exactly what he says, but oh, look, they've got this feast they're cooking on the fire. Things aren't so bad. And then Willie says, oh, that's your laundry. And I'm just like, oh my God, those poor people. Scrooge, jeez. The laundry thing is one of the things that puts Scrooge over Scrooge's Scrooge over Kane's Scrooge to me, because they just drive home just how much of a miserable person he is. It's not that he's like unpleasant to be around; it's that he's just awful to the people around him. Slicing the pea in half. Ugh. I remember doing that as a kid. Not like because my family was so poor that they couldn't feed me a full plate of food, but because that image stuck with me so much that I used to, like, if we had peas, I would cut them in half and eat them half by half. It's harder to do than the cartoon makes it out to be.
Yes, it is. It is.
Also, I wasn't paying attention. I wrote pee like urine pee instead of the proper pee. I wanted to make sure everyone knew that. Yeah, but that's just like what a great way to illustrate how just absolutely destitute these people are. Pete is the best Ghost of Christmas Future ever conceived. I believe that. I'll die on that hill.
Okay.
He's the best. When they change into that sequence and the smoke starts like kind of pulsing into the scene, and then it turns out to be Pete's cigar smoke. It's just great. And the reveal, so good. Oh God, he's dead. The reveal of the grave. Oh no! Oh God, he's dead is about Tiny Tim.
Yes.
That is heart-wrenching to watch. My next note is I never want to see Mickey cry again. The way they draw Mickey crying is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Because they draw him with a long face, and you really never see Mickey with long face. Like he can cry and he can wipe tears away, but he gets that like bags under his eyes for a second, like long, desperately sad face, just for a split moment. So good. The grave sequence haunted me so much as a kid. It's really terrifying, like unduly scary for what you're watching.
Yep.
However, my next note is Scrooge getting dressed fills my heart with joy. He's so excited to go out and do Christmas stuff that he's putting his clothes on over his sleeping robe, and he puts his scarf on while it's still on the hat rack, so it drags along behind him. And then he runs outside, and you hear him go down the stairs. And then he comes back up, and he bursts into the room, and he goes, "I can't go out like this." And then he puts a top hat on. There, that's better. It's just a delightful, but a big moment of levity after that really horrifying Christmas yet to come scene. My next question is, how does Rat count the gold sovereigns so fast? Scrooge dumps a pile of gold sovereigns onto Mole's head, and Rat says, 20 gold sovereigns? Immediately.
He's
Get him.
Rain Man.
Get him.
What did you say?
Oh, I was encouraging Astro to.
Oh, don't do that. She's trying to get the cat to mess with me. Donald's "Well, I'll be doggone" take to Cyril the horse is hilarious. It's the funniest part of the whole thing. And then at the end, I just wrote "openly weeping."
How much joy did it fill you with to rewatch this movie?
It always brings me great joy. And I didn't have a good way to watch it for a long time. I tried for so many years to watch it on like YouTube, but you can only get it, you can only really find videos that have been distorted in some way. Yep. Sped up, or like the aspect ratio is bad, so they don't get hit with copyright. But it's such a joy to just be able to turn it on now and watch it.
Well, thank you for those extremely detailed notes.
Yeah.
You certainly understood the assignment.
It felt like it took longer to read through that than to watch the movie.
We have now been talking for 20 minutes longer than the movie is running about the movie, which is just fantastic. And I'm excited to. So we're gonna do this again. That's the plan. That's the unofficial official plan right now. We're gonna do a round 2 on this later in the month, discussing the 3, well, not live action, but
What?
the other 3. So we can talk about Muppets Christmas Carol at nauseum. But talking about the I can't think of their names. George C. Scott, Patrick Stewart, and the
Patrick
Jim
C.
Carrey
and Jim C. Carrey.
Are those their middle initials? You don't know.
Let's see. I can pretty much guarantee that Jim Carrey's middle initial is not C. That would be ridiculous.
James Charles Carey. Not crazy.
No. Patrick Stewart apparently does not have a middle name. It does not listed on his wiki.
Of course he doesn't have a middle name. He's regal.
His middle name is now Patrick because his first name is Sir.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how that works.
Well,
did you know
we'll have to fact check it and get back to us.
Did you know that the members of the royal family don't have last names?
Let go.
I didn't. That seems like it's something you just made up.
It's not. They don't have official last names. It's like of blah 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 blah, but there's no. It's like titles. It's not. There's no last name. Queen Elizabeth, I believe, gave her family last names that had to do with some other things that they made up. But like Prince Harry does not have a last name. There is an assumed last name that they use, but it's not that there is no last name like we have last names.
That's curious. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So find out all of that and more next time we talk later in the month. And also everybody go follow Preston. The link in the description of this video has a link to Preston's Twitch channel. What can people find when they watch you stream it on Twitch?
I wouldn't say it's so dissimilar from this, except that I'm also playing a video game.
I love it. What kind of video games are you playing?
I am what the kids call a variety streamer, and so that I'm not tied down to any particular game or genre. But I tend to go for older RPGs. Right now, I'm playing Chrono Trigger, and I'm playing some Donkey Kong Country with another friend.
Very nice.
Yeah, stuff like that. But it's a good time. Very wholesome and fun.
I personally know absolutely nothing about video games.
Sure.
Speaking of people who know absolutely nothing about video games, I assume Ryan says, no Scrooged, and I say to you, Ryan, I already watched Scrooged and talked about it on another episode, and I was not a fan, and Preston not a fan. So no Scrooged, but just rewind this episode because we covered it a little bit already.
Yeah.
And the last one that I did with Jay Stevenson was fully on Scrooged, and it was fine. It was fine. I liked it a lot more after talking to Jay about it. So Ryan, I'm sure that you could convince me to like Scrooged, and I'm not going to give you that opportunity.
Wow.
I will not give anyone the opportunity to make me watch Scrooged again. I have now watched it twice in my life, and I'm good.
That's it. That's the quota.
That's it. But those three Christmas carols, that's what we're gonna do. I like that we made it 3 and not like 5 or more. That's crazy.
That's a lot. I tell you what I'm gonna do is if I can squeeze her in, I'm gonna watch Scrooged. Because I haven't seen it in such a long time, and I want to have an honest opinion.
All right.
And I just assume that I'm going to dislike it. Because
in that case, we will cover. If you watch it, we will cover Scrooged as well when we.
It can be like an addendum. It can, sidebar.
We'll also talk about Mickey's again. We'll compare everything to Mickey's Christmas Carol and Muppet Christmas Carol. It'll be a Christmas Carol episode. Absolutely. Also, I think earlier in the chat somewhere, Jess volunteered herself to be a part of it. I'm in. I'd love to reread A Christmas Carol every year, so I'm always down to see different versions. Jess, are you inviting yourself on the show? Because I didn't invite you on the show. You're more than welcome to. If you're here for Christmas, yes, she said always. She's always inviting. Listen, if you're here for Christmas, then I would assume that you would be a part of the conversation. I need to make sure that I have enough microphones for this, but I assume that you would be the big finale of this is going to be It's a Wonderful Life, because Dave, Allie, and I have never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, not so much.
So what'd you say?
I said you're not missing much.
Well, I think that Jess and Alex would beg to differ. So
That's fine.
yeah, the ghost of that's fine. We're just making everybody mad. I already I told and Ryan, if you want to make me watch it, that's fine. I should do a group one of these. Georgia, I will do a group one of these. You guys get in your little nerdy group chat that you love. That I am assuming that you have, being a bunch of nerds. And I don't know why I'm saying nerds. I'm the biggest nerd in the world. It's not even a negative word. The Ghost of Christmas Past from Scrooge should absolutely be a cosplay for Grace. She would slay it. Okay. I think that's great. Yeah.
No, that's not for
She's-
cat.
Okay, she's not talking to this. Georgia
Yeah,
loves It's a Wonderful Life. Okay, so
That's
are
fine.
we going to do this? Georgia, Jess, anyone who wants to, that we know personally, not just any stranger that's watching this, but anyone that would make sense to do this with Preston and I. Here's what you do. You watch the Jim Carrey 2009 Disney's A Christmas Carol. You watch the Patrick
It's
Stewart
the
version.
official Family Story Albums Christmas Carol Challenge.
Yes, it's the official FamilyStoryAlbums.com, the perfect holiday present for your family members. Save those family memories.
Christmas Carol Challenge. That's the full title.
Christmas Carol Challenge.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol Challenge.
Also, you have to remember that whole thing for next time.
Absolutely.
So write it down.
And if you don't do it, you all have to go to FamilyStoryAlbums.com and purchase a gift certificate for someone.
Astro.
That's it.
No.
You got anything else you want to plug?
Very bad.
Preston?
No. That's it. You did a great job.
Thanks. You did a great job. I like your last thing for me. You got a new light. Can you just, now that everything's good, is it going to ruin everything if I asked you to just show everybody your light?
Like physically show?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I love this.
I won't point it at the camera, but you get the idea. It's an LED
I'll
light.
point it at the camera. It's not going to hurt anybody. There you go. There you go. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I don't know. I love it. And I love you, my friend. Thank you
I love
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to make it do the thing. I don't know how this works.
Ah.
Just
All right. Well,
vamp.
all right. Well, that was the episode. Oh, God.
Got you good.
All right. That is it. This is the third one that I've recorded. It's the first one that was live. The first one that I recorded, I can't use because I watched Love Actually with my friend Anne, who lives in North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "We're doing a live watch along, right?" And I was like, "This movie's 2.5 hours." And it's 10 o'clock at night. We are not doing a live watch along of Love Actually.
No, ma'am.
And then she was like, "No, I only want to do it if it's a live watch along." And I was like, "Fine."
That's very specific.
I was like, "Fine. We will record a live watch along. And then we'll see what happens." And by the end of it, like, she started off like sitting up ready to go. And then by the end of it, she was like laying down in bed with like, and I was like, "Okay, we're going to scrap this. And you and I are just going to do like a 15-minute, like, here's what we thought of the movie later." And then the one on Scrooged. So this has been my favorite one. It's always a pleasure to
Stop
talk
that.
to
You say that every time.
I do.
It's a pleasure to talk to you too. I appreciate you having me on, and it's a joy.
Yes. Let's figure out. I'm so happy because we tried to do a bunch of impromptu live streams with you at the beginning of the pandemic,
Oh boy.
and your internet was like nothing to write home about. But this has been so nice and perfect. And obviously I knew that it would be now because you stream on Twitch at least twice a week. So like I can't wait to find new ways to collaborate with you
Yeah,
and do some fun stuff from across the country.
I also would like to do that.
Well, I said it first, so I'm the better person.
You know,
Hey, you maniac.
I asked you to have me on months ago, and this is the first time it's come up. So
I wish that you hadn't said that right after I said that I'm the better person. All right, we gotta go because if we make any more insinuations about me not being the better person, then Family Story Albums is gonna pull their sponsorship.
Oh my God, get get Mr. Family Story on the phone and tell him Ben's doing a great job.
Hold on, let me call him. Hi, I'd like to speak to the owner of Family Story Albums. Sure, 1 second. Hello.
Stop it.
Oh, it's a bit. I mean, it's a real.
Oh,
It's a real legitimate business and a wonderful gift opportunity for families. However, like it's just Ben, and it's just Ben doing this. You're sharing your family memories, and then you get to save it and keep it forever. Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I gotta go. I'm in the middle of a show. All right, bye.
Oh, hey Ben.
He's a nice guy.
Are you doing comedy right now?
He's a nice guy. All right.
Yeah,
Preston, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
There are so many stories we've never told, questions we never thought to ask. Preserve your family memories for generations to come.